It was February 9, 2004, when Mora Murray's life changed forever, leaving behind one of the most unsettling mysteries in the United States. That afternoon, a young woman of just 21, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts, left campus under a quiet pretext. She sent an email to her professors saying she would miss classes due to a family problem, but no one in her family knew anything about this sudden trip. In her dorm room, the lights were off, her clothes were neatly folded, and her bed was made, as if she wanted to close a door on a part of her life. Then, she got into her old black Saturn sedan and drove off, heading north. Around 7:25 p.m., Mora lost control of the car on a curve along Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. The car hit a snowbank and got stuck. A nearby resident watching the scene from inside her home called for help, while another neighbor stopped to offer assistance. Mora politely declined, saying she had already called roadside assistance. But this was a lie. No call had been made, and just minutes after that encounter, the young woman vanished as if she had dissolved into the icy night air. When the police arrived at the scene around 7:46 p.m., Mora's car was locked. Inside were her driver's license, an open beer bottle, an overturned box of wine, and some personal belongings. Only she was missing. No footprints in the snow led away from the road. It was as if the darkness of the forest had swallowed her without leaving a trace. From that moment, a case began that, to this day, raises more questions than answers. In the hours that followed, the search efforts intensified. Scent dogs, drones, and volunteers combed every inch of that remote, silent area. Temperatures were freezing, and every passing minute reduced the chances of finding her alive. Mora seemed to have vanished. No witnesses saw anyone take her. No suspicious noises were heard. Only the silence of the New Hampshire woods and the echo of a young life suspended in uncertainty. Investigations revealed disturbing details about the days leading up to her disappearance. Just a few days before, Mora had been involved in a minor car accident. She had also searched online for destinations like the White Mountains National Forest, possibly planning a temporary escape from her college routine. Some theorized that she wanted to take a break from everything, that she had run away voluntarily. Others, however, began to suspect that she had fallen victim to a fatal encounter along that dark road. Mora's family never gave up. Every anniversary of her disappearance is marked by vigils, searches, and campaigns to keep public attention alive. Over the years, dozens of theories have emerged. Some believe a passing motorist picked her up, others that she hid in the woods and never found her way back. Some investigators have even speculated that Mora planned her own disappearance, but no evidence has ever confirmed this. More than 20 years later, Route 112 remains shrouded in mystery. Her car has long since been removed, the official investigation remains open, and the woods around Haverhill continue to be searched by those hoping to find an answer. The story of Mora Murray has become an endless enigma, one of those cases that continues to haunt anyone who delves into it. On that cold February night, a young woman vanished, leaving behind only scattered clues, and one question that still has no answer. What happened to Mora? It was the morning of September 20th, 1988, when Tara Calico left her home in Belen, New Mexico, for one of her usual bike rides along State Road 47. She was wearing a bright pink t-shirt and cycling shorts, an outfit her mother would have recognized anywhere. She carried a Walkman with her and had promised to be back in time for lunch, but that promise was never kept. Tara was a 19-year-old full of life, and that country road was her regular route. But that morning, something changed. Halfway through her ride, the young woman vanished into thin air, leaving behind only unsettling fragments of a story that, to this day, has no definitive answers. When she didn't return home, Tara's mother, Patty Dole, drove the entire route her daughter usually took. About 3 miles from their house, she found pieces of Tara's cassette tape and a part of her Walkman. A little farther down, tire tracks and skid marks were visible on the asphalt. Everything seemed to suggest that something sudden and violent had happened at that isolated spot. The police immediately launched a search, but Tara had disappeared without a trace. No reliable witnesses, no clear clues. It was as if that road had swallowed her whole, erasing any sign of her presence. The following days were filled with desperate searches, interviews, and reported sightings. It was speculated that a vehicle had followed Tara during her ride, but no one was ever able to identify a suspicious car. Tension grew, and the absence of concrete evidence turned every passing hour into an unbearable weight for the Calico family. Then, 9 months later, a shocking event opened a new chapter in the mystery. A disturbing photograph was found in the parking lot of a convenience store in Port St. Joe, Florida, more than 2,000 kilometers from where she had disappeared. The photograph showed a young girl and a boy bound and gagged inside a van. The girl in the picture bore an uncanny resemblance to Tara. Her mother was immediately convinced it was her daughter, even recognizing a visible scar on her leg. The image spread across the country, fueling hope that Tara was still alive. The FBI and local authorities analyzed the photo, but no detail led to a solid lead. It was never discovered who had taken the picture or where those children were being held. The mystery only deepened. Over the years, conflicting testimonies emerged. Some claimed to have seen Tara being chased by a white pickup truck that morning. Others said they had heard screams along the road. Yet every lead ended in a dead end. Authorities put forward multiple theories, from abduction to the possibility of an accident covered up by those involved. But the truth remained hidden, trapped behind a wall of silence and coincidences. Decades later, Tara Calico's disappearance continues to be one of the most mysterious cases in American history. The Port St. Joe photograph remains a chilling symbol, an image that seems to cry out a truth never revealed. Today, her family has not stopped searching for answers, hoping that a forgotten detail or an unexpected testimony might finally shed light on that tragic September day. Every time her name is spoken, the question lingers. What happened to Tara Calico on that deserted New Mexico road? It was July 2, 1996, when Susan Walsh, a 36-year-old freelance journalist, left her home in Nutley, New Jersey, to run a quick errand. She told her son she would be right back, leaving behind her sunglasses, wallet, and everything she would have needed for a longer trip. She wore a simple black t-shirt, jeans, and sandals, as if nothing could go wrong on that warm summer day. But that short journey marked the beginning of a mystery that has never been solved. Susan, a woman with a complex past but a brilliant mind, was never seen again. Susan was not an ordinary journalist. She had written articles for the New York Times and the Village Voice, exposing the darker side of New York nightlife, strip clubs, and the underground world of escorts, subjects few dared to approach with her clarity. Her ability to enter difficult environments and earn the trust of those living on the margins had opened doors to uncomfortable truths. In the months before her disappearance, she was investigating a criminal ring linked to the sex industry and, according to some friends, a shadowy connection to Manhattan's vampire scene, a secret and hard-to-penetrate subculture. More than one person said Susan had received veiled threats, as if she was digging too deep. That afternoon, when she didn't return home, her ex-husband immediately grew concerned. Susan was a devoted mother and would never leave her son alone for hours without telling anyone. The police were involved almost immediately, but the case was complicated. There were no signs of a struggle in her apartment, no evidence of a voluntary disappearance. Her notebook, filled with work notes and important contacts, vanished along with her. Every detail seemed to suggest a quick outing, as if someone had lured her out for a sudden meeting, perhaps with the promise of decisive information. The following days were a whirlwind of reports and confused leads. Some witnesses said they saw Susan in New York. Others spoke of a possible connection to someone she had met during her club investigations. But none of these leads led to any conclusion. Every anonymous call, every sighting, fueled the anguish without ever providing answers. The feeling was that Susan was trapped in something bigger than herself, something she had begun to glimpse while chasing her stories. Weeks turned into months and then years. Susan Walsh's disappearance remained an enigma, wrapped in theories and hypotheses never confirmed. Some friends and colleagues believe the key lies in her last works, in the information she was about to publish. Others think of a sudden kidnapping, a threat that materialized in the most silent and definitive way. Her story, told today, is that of a woman who chose to look into the darkest corners of the city, perhaps paying too high a price for her curiosity and courage. July 2, 1996 remains a suspended date, a day that swallowed a truth never revealed and continues to echo in the unanswered questions left by Susan Walsh. It was the afternoon of December 11, 2011, when Phoenix Colden, a 23-year-old woman, left her home in Spanish Lake, Missouri, as if she would return shortly. She wore a dark sweatshirt, jeans, and boots, and quickly said goodbye to her parents, telling them she was just stepping out for a moment. Nothing suggested that this would be the last time they would see her. Phoenix was a bright young woman, raised in a close-knit and devout family, with many dreams and a natural talent for sports and music. But behind her smile hid worries and tensions no one could have imagined. Hours after she left, her family grew worried when they had no news. That day, around 3 p.m., a police officer found an abandoned car on a busy road in East St. Louis. It was a black Chevrolet Blazer, with the engine still running, the door open, her eyeglasses on the dashboard, and her cell phone inside. It was Phoenix's car. Yet no one looked for her immediately. The vehicle was towed away, and only a day later, when her parents reported her missing, did they discover the car belonged to her. The time lost during those crucial hours became a heavy burden on the investigation. In the following days, police and volunteers combed the area, but no trace of the young woman emerged. The road where the car was found was known for trafficking and criminal activity, a place where a young woman alone could easily disappear without leaving clues. Nearby surveillance cameras offered no useful footage. No witnesses came forward to say they had seen her. It was as if Phoenix had been swallowed by thin air within minutes. The investigation uncovered details that added mystery to her disappearance. Phoenix lived a double life unknown to her parents. While attending college and seeming to have a normal routine, she had stopped studying without telling anyone and had secretly moved in with a boyfriend. In the weeks before she vanished, she had written troubling thoughts in her diary, phrases expressing feelings of being trapped and wanting to change her life, almost as if she foresaw that something was about to happen. This led to various theories: voluntary flight, kidnapping, or even involvement in dangerous circles. Her family never gave up. Devastated, Phoenix's parents launched an unrelenting campaign to keep attention on her story. Flyers, TV appeals, even private investigators. Every lead, no matter how fragile, was followed to the end. Some claimed to have seen Phoenix in nearby towns, but none of these testimonies was ever confirmed. Over the years, suspicions arose about possible human trafficking networks active in the area, but nothing led to a concrete truth. Even today, more than a decade later, the case of Phoenix Colden remains shrouded in silence. Every detail of that day, from the abandoned car with the engine running to the secret life uncovered after her disappearance, forms a disturbing puzzle. Her photos, her smile, and the memory of that girl who seemed to have her whole future ahead continue to haunt everyone who has heard her story, leaving suspended the question no one can stop asking: what really happened to Phoenix Colden that December afternoon?